So welcome back. So Frazer Clarke has completed a new interview, ahead of his fight this Saturday night against Kevin Espinidolo. Probably butchered that name. Anyway, he said, in this recent interview that his target for 2023 is to try and win, the British heavyweight title. And I feel that this could be potentially, achievable for Frazer Clarke, and it all depends on what happens really with the current, British heavyweight champion, which is Fabio Wardley. Now, I'm guessing that Fabio Wardley's got ambitions of his own to potentially maybe at some point potentially try and defend his title, against maybe, a mandatory challenger or fight, the Commonwealth champion, which I don't know off the top of my head who that is, but he might try and take on the Commonwealth champion and then maybe even the European champion within his next maybe two, 2 to 3 fights, give or take, for Fabio Wardley, which means that I could potentially see a future matchup. If Clark keeps winning, a future matchup towards the end of the year, maybe between Clark and Wardley for the British Championship. And at that point, as I said, Wardley, if he's still got the title and let's say he's added the Commonwealth and the European, that fight could potentially be for all three belts. Now, now it's quite interesting, really. To try and find, the British, heavyweight rankings. From one to let's say 50 or whichever, because it's quite hard. But anyway, I've had a look at BoxRec, and they've been pretty good, really. They've pretty much listed all the British heavyweight fighters accordingly, and obviously, Fabio Wardley's ranked. He's a British champion. He's ranked number 7. Whilst obviously Frazer Clarke is currently ranked number 10 according to BoxRec. And as I says, there's a potential there depending on obviously what happens with Wardley. But I feel that Frazer Clarke probably needs some good tune-up fights prior to that. And there's some good fighters out there which I'd like to potentially see Clarke in with, really. I'd probably say obviously this weekend as well we've got Jack Massey versus what's his name? Joseph Parker. So let's say if Joseph Parker wins that, Jack Massey looks half decent in that fight. I'd like to see maybe Frazer Clarke challenge him, to see how he could potentially handle Massey. And another fighter as well is maybe Steve Robinson, Steve Robinson fought, I think it was just after Christmas, and obviously Clark was like, oh, he handled him quite easy. So it'd be quite interesting to see if he can actually handle him quite easy. And obviously a matchroom fighter in Johnny Fisher, he looks pretty good. He's big. He's quite, a big puncher. So again, I'd like to maybe see him challenge him or a David Adelaide. Do you know what I mean? Before maybe taking that step up to try and fight maybe a Wardley. You know what I mean? Or maybe before he fights Wardley, he could potentially even try and challenge a Nathan Gorman, to see how he handles that. Because obviously, if Wardley fought Gorman and he knocked him out. But if Clark could fight Gorman and he looks really good against Gorman and he defeats Gorman, then if Wardley is still the champion, it's a natural fight to make. Do you know what I mean? But so far, Clark does look like a good prospect in the heavyweight division. He's got a good amateur pedigree as well. Obviously, he's won Olympic gold and stuff like that. So he's been there, he's done that, and he's sparred with all the big heavyweights. He currently trains with Anthony Joshua and sparred with Dubois and all that. So yeah, it's just quite interesting to see. He obviously loves the game, he loves the fight, he loves the box. So I feel as if he could probably be one of the next big names that we're potentially speaking about in the heavyweight British boxing scene. But there's still a long way to go. And I do like where he's coming from. He's looking to try and win that British, and who knows, from British he might even try and do more. He might try and go for Commonwealth, then European, before jumping up to that world level. But anyway, you guys let me know what you guys think. Do you know what I mean? Do you guys feel that, Clark has the potential, you know what I mean, to become British champion? I think he has. And do you think you could go on to potentially win world honours as well? But anyway, as always, please like, subscribe, and comment for more boxing related content. Bless.